was happening. Let's say this is what Berkeley Bullock reported. We'll put it that way. Some of it probably was visible to the census taker's eye. You have to report something, and it probably seemed reasonable. So here we are. This is one of the beautiful maps done by Steve Thompson. Here's Berkeley Bullock's property. Here's Hugh Carr right here, and Hugh Carr right here. This is Berkeley Bullock's property. And so for at least 15 years, Bullock and his extended family of 13 children and relatives make this place their home. This is their community. Their neighbor, Hugh Carr, whose memory we celebrate and on whose property we sit, is right there next door. And this is just another shot of that same map. There's Berkeley Bullock, and this is, I can sort of see the same outline of the river. I don't know if it's lining up. Oh, there's the, is that right? No. Here's the yellow trail here. Well, we'll work on that. All I know is the yellow trail. Oh, we have another map. Wait, I think it shows it better. Well, no, this is a nice map of the 35-acre property of 1871 next to Hugh Carr of 1870. So that gives you a nice picture. We'd like to now figure out where the other 40 acres are.
Mm-hmm. You can see the gas line, Scott, on that, so you could walk that gas line.
Ah, okay, great. Okay, so while here, he's not simply farming, he's also forming a community. He's contributing to the organization of what was called the Old Ivy Creek Baptist Church, now meaning 1908, called the Union Ridge Baptist Church. What happened there? Whoa, where's the rest of my slides? There we go. Okay, I don't know what happened there. Sorry, folks.
That's all right.
But he's made he has a stake in the land. He's been there for 15 years. This is a turning point. He's 55 years old. What are his options? Is he going to continue farming this plot of land, or is he going to move from the countryside to the city, or is he going to join those heading north and west in search of better opportunity? And so the question is, how can he best care for himself, his family, and his people? And the answer is that he, like many other African Americans of this era, decided to move. And of course, this is a time of great mobility among African Americans. This is my mentor, Ed Ayers' book, The Promise of the New South. Tens of thousands of black Southerners are moving around from the countryside to the towns and cities of the New South. And that's what Berkeley Bullock does. And there's all kinds of great primary source evidence of this. This is Ora Langhorne in The Southern Workman. Nothing about the colored people today impresses, this is 1886, impresses the observer more than the way they travel about. Every train carries away from the South-colored people. They go by the hundreds, and many of them return no more. But Berkeley Bullock said, I want to stay here. I think my best shot is here. Probably because he knew people. He had a lot of connections here. He could build on all of that. He chose this, he knew the racial boundaries. He knew this landscape. He knew the social landscape. He knew the economic landscape. And he could capitalize on these family and community ties, these patron-client relationships, linking former slaves and former masters. So sometime, I don't know what happened to my picture there, sorry folks, he establishes himself sometime in the 1880s as a pioneer businessman. This is from the 1889 Charlottesville City Directory. They list him as the proprietor of a restaurant opposite the Virginia Midland Junction. So, and as I mentioned, he had competition there. Wright's Railroad Dining Room was across the way, owned by a white man, staffed by African-American cooks and waiters, and that was his worry. Remember he said he was worried about that our newfangled restaurant. That's Wright's restaurant. He also, according to the students, that restaurant that he had catered to students and often riotous customers. This is a great description. From under his bushy eyebrows there gleam with unabated brilliancy a pair of furtive, restless eyes which seem always on the alert for chance, gain, or unexpected disaster at the hands of his, alas, too often riotous customers. So these are white students in his restaurant. How do you control them? How do you assert yourself as an African American businessman at this time? And of course they talk about him almost being resigned, he's noiselessly gliding about. He stands in the corner. You can just imagine him eyeing his customers with folded hands and a look of resigned despair. What am I going to do? He's never certain of his pay. He's always haunted with a gnawing fear that the frolicsome students may even make away with his house. Now, that's humorous, but it's also real. That anxiety is real. These are real concerns when they say they'll pay him later, he says, they say, this is the students, he's a kind-hearted man, and when asked for credit after the meal has been consumed, he acquiesces with a fair show of grace. But what else could he do?